Welcome to the Sleep Experience podcast, where we take a deep dive into the latest sleep hacks, gadgets, and strategies to skyrocket your productivity to new heights. Being a high performer is all about resting at 100%, so you can execute at 100%.
Side effects of medication, they weren't doing anything for me, so I felt like my back was up against the wall.
Hey, this is Riley, host of the Sleep Experience Podcast. At the Sleep Experience Podcast, we interview health experts and teach our community how upgrading their sleep is the one thing that they need to unlock their biological code and maximize their performance in an effortless way by doing more with less. Do you want to become a productivity machine, have genius ideas automatically pop into your mind, stop feeling so stressed, build better relationships, and generate more income? Optimizing your deep sleep can do just that. Visit www.thesleepconsultant.com to learn more. My guest today is Juraj Kocar. Juraj is the CEO of Somavedic, an organization that's helped over 100,000 people in their home and office environments experience better sleep, more energy, mental clarity, and focus throughout the day. This is achieved by using a functional and frequency therapy device that harmonizes the adverse effects of EMFs and much more, all backed by science and thousands of client positive experiences. As an endless optimist with a passion for building and growing new innovative projects, Juraj has many key insights into how to achieve optimal health. Juraj, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on. You know, all questions I like to ask guests to start. What was your origin story? How did Somavedic all come to be?
Yes, that's a good question. So I'm the CEO, but there's an inventor, a friend of mine, who basically invented the Somavedic. And as with lots of other similar stories with technologies or supplement, it was necessity is the mother of invention. So he was struggling with his health, some organ problems and lupus and things like that. And doctors basically were just giving him pills, and but he wanted to do something more, and he has done his research and found out that some of the root cause of the problems he was suffering with were like EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, and geopathic zones. So he turned to Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine and different healing modalities of precious stones and minerals. And when he's like an IT and mathematician, he combined like all of that together. And after like months of experimentation, he found out that it's helping him.
Wow.
So then he was helping like the family and friends that was working as well. And eventually he decided, to put all the knowledge and experience into a device, that can help much more people around the world. And so this was in 2011. So yeah, this is the story in really like a nutshell.
Yeah, I really like that, combining, nature's natural elements and combining, modern science into what it is today. Could you explain for listeners a little bit of what Somavedic is, if they haven't heard of it before, and what it does and how it helps people?
Yes. So Somavedic is a subtle frequency therapy device. It's a rest and recovery device. And what is inside, I briefly mentioned that. So inside are different precious stones and minerals and frequency therapy technology. So we combine these two, let's say, approaches and two worlds into one. And that's what's making Somavedic, or that's what's making it unique. And what the Somavedic does, it is creating a coherent field around it with a 100 feet radius. And in that coherent field, basically it is supporting the improved speed of cellular regeneration. So, for example, in the current environment, let's say EMF environment, in homes and office spaces and everywhere, of course there are much more other external stressors. So Somavedic is helping, thanks to the coherent field, to lower these adverse effects of the external stressors on the cells and on the body. And it's helping the body to start the self-healing processes, because
Mm.
it's the body that is doing the healing.
Yeah.
We just create a space and energy to start it.
Love it. And is this something that people have beside their bed? Is it on 24/7, only at certain times of the day? What does that look like?
Yeah, so it was designed to be on all the time. That
Mm.
means 24/7.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily need to have it in the bedroom.
Okay.
Uh, it's enough to have it in the living room or in the kitchen.
Mhm.
And the reason is that during the first days, your body is adapting to the frequency, and it
Mhm.
might, if you would have it since the first days in your bedroom, it might disturb your sleep for the first few days.
Mhm.
This is just a temporary, but still, we recommend having it in the kitchen or living room.
Mhm.
Sorry, because the field is big enough to cover to get into your bedroom. So
Amazing.
one Somavedic is enough per household, per apartment or a house. And other thing why we don't, like for example, recommend placing it in the bedroom. Some people don't like to have like light,
It's a big one.
additional light in the bedroom.
Yeah.
So of course the Somavedics are designed to be on 24/7, and you
Mm.
can cover them with a cloth or anything, so it will block out the light. It doesn't
Mhm.
get warm, so it's perfectly safe to do that.
Okay.
But on the other hand, it's a very unique. Each of the Somavedics, the glass corpuses, are
Mm.
handmade, hand blown. There are more than 20 people
Yeah.
working on each of them. So that's why it's nice to have them like uncovered.
Yeah, I find that amazing. And most people think to sleep better, it's block out the blue light, make sure your bedroom environment's cool. And we hear of EMFs, and at the beginning, it kind of sounded like it's conspiracy theory a few years back. But the more science is coming out with it, the more interesting, the approaches that we can take with it, and Somavedic being one of them. Can you talk a little about what EMFs are and why they're so detrimental to sleep quality and our overall well-being?
Yes, so EMF stands for electromagnetic frequencies, and basically uh, everything that has electricity in it is emitting some kind of EMFs.
Mm.
But especially it came with cell phones and Wi-Fi routers, and like the cell phone towers.
Yeah.
Those are the biggest emitters of EMFs. Then of course there are the wireless headphones. So these EMFs are waves of energy or information we devices use to communicate with each other. So that's why
Mhm.
what it is allowing us to have this conversation right now.
Mhm.
It is allowing us to have the phone calls and everything, which is great. I mean, I do love the technology, but the safety standards are really really old.
Mm.
For they are just don't keep up with the exponential growth of the EMF exposure.
Yeah.
And at the very beginning, when they were designing the safety standards, the principle behind the safety standards, the very first one, were not correctly designed. So it was designed on
Mm.
the thermal exposure, which yeah, it was not the right approach. And why should we be aware of that, and why should we lower the EMF exposure as much as possible, is because the EMF cause they basically open the VGCCs, voltage gate calcium channels in our cells. So on a
Mm.
biological level, the calcium gets into the cell
Yeah.
and is causing the increase of free radicals.
Yeah.
So the cell is aging faster. But there are more than 20,000 peer-reviewed studies showing the adverse effects on sleep, on fertility, on on plants, on animals. So when you sleep, for example, and you have Wi-Fi router next to you or close to you, or even your cell phone, it's interfering with your brain waves.
Mm,
So it's interfering with your sleep, and that's the most precious time
yeah.
when the body needs to regenerate.
Yeah.
So we have to protect that precious time.
Yeah, I think that's so vital. And you know, when someone for the people that typically will get a Somavedic, I'm sure there's a big range of people. Everyone from, you know, an optimizer, maybe a CEO, he's looking to really optimize and get from a 7 of 10 to a 10 of 10 to somebody who's really in an ill state and they're really just looking to feel better. How long does it typically take for people once they start using the device to really experience those differences in how they feel the next day? Is it right away? Does it take a couple of weeks to build up? What's that look like?
Usually it's the first hours and days when
Wow.
they feel the biggest difference. So it
Amazing.
starts basically immediately,
Yeah.
because the body is all of a sudden in a different energy and energetic environment,
Yeah.
and the changes are most noticeable during the first hours and days,
Yeah.
or nights, when some people plug it in
Mm.
and they immediately feel something,
Mm.
uh, buzzing, or for example, my first experience was when I brought first Somavedic at home.
Mm.
uh, I felt my jaw was buzzing, even
Wow.
though you cannot measure the field
Mhm.
of the Somavedic with any kind of like typical device. There's no like frequencies, like hertz frequencies. We can measure it with bioresonance devices, but even though I was a couple of feet from the Somavedic,
Mhm.
where there's not even EMF, it's radiating.
Yeah.
I could feel my jaw buzzing,
Interesting.
warm on the chest.
Wow.
So there was immediate like reaction to the energy shift
Yeah.
in the environment. And some people may experience about 20 to 30% may experience, we call it like detox symptoms,
Mm.
when the body starts to detox, and so you can have like a headache or something,
Yeah.
but that's just like temporary, and the body gets rid of that quite fast. But
Mm.
the experience is usually again is the first hours and days.
Amazing. What? How about on a personal level? What's exciting you about the future of biohacking technology? Maybe it's Somavedic. Where all this is going. What do you envision, and what excites you about the future?
Well, for me personally, in terms of biohacking, I try to approach it uh, and to learn the biohacks where I don't need any additional supplements or technology.
Mm. Yeah.
That's for me that's my my personal approach or
Mhm.
road that I would like to go, because the more we are dependent on external technologies and helpers and supplements. Of course we need to supplement like some things, because the land is depleted and everything, but for me it's the everyday things that we can do, the intermittent fasting, the cold
Mm.
showers,
Yeah.
like all of these things
Sure.
that everyone can implement into their lives
Yeah.
with no additional cost.
Yeah.
So this is where I see what I'm excited about, because of course not everybody is comfortable with cold showers, and even me,
Mhm.
the
It's
i
tough in the morning.
still i still didn't get used to it. But
Mhm.
every time I do it, like I
Mhm.
feel I feel amazing, and I can see the
Yeah.
effects of the energy levels on the sleep and
Yeah.
on everything. So I love biohacking.
Mhm.
All of the is really exciting field and area to be in. because you see, you can see and experience all the newest technologies on the market. At the same time, I would like to, I don't want to be dependent on these technologies, and so I'm trying to add these routines into my life that help me, and anyone can do that as well.
Great. Love it, Yuri. Any last words of wisdom today for our listeners before we close things off?
Last words of basically, I would definitely tell people to, when we are discussing the sleep and EMFs, yes, there's Somavedic, and it helps. We have like tens of thousands of customers, like endless positive experiences and everything. But there are things that you can do. Turning off your Wi-Fi router when you sleep. Putting your cell phone in flight mode, not using or as wireless headphones. Doing grounding, intermittent fasting. All of these very simple things that helps you with the lowering of the EMF exposure.
Yeah.
They just add up, and they really are a great investment
Yeah.
into your long-term health. And if you have a Somavedic or anything else, any other kinds of devices, that's great. But do these things first. And we have a 60-day money back guarantee on the product, because we really believe in it and its effects and value. So anyone can try it for 2 months and see if it's working for them or not. And if not, they'll just can send it back, and we'll give them the money back.
Okay, that's amazing, Yuri. If people want to find and learn more about you and what you do, Somavedic, where can they visit?
Yeah, so the best place would be to go to somavedic.com.
Okay.
Or on the Instagram account, Somavedic Official.
Awesome. And we'll put all that down in the show notes below. Thank you so much today, Yuri. I learned a lot, and I'm sure our audience did as well.
Perfect.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you so much, Riley.
Thank you. All right, guys. I hope you learned a lot today, and thank you so much for joining the show today. If you'd like to learn more about how sleep can benefit your business and personal life, visit thesleepconsultant.com. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to the Sleep Experience podcast. We'll see you next time on next week's episode. Be sure to subscribe and follow us to get future updates on everything sleep, energy, focus, stress, and better performance.